In this crazy, hyper-connected world we live in, we're all told the same thing. Juggling a dozen tasks at once isn't just a nice-to-have skill. It's basically a superpower. You see it everywhere, right? Job descriptions, praise for our colleagues, we're all chasing this ideal. But here's the question. What if that superpower isn't so super after all? What if the very thing we think is making us more productive is secretly sabotaging our brains and just killing our efficiency? Let's pull back the curtain and find out what's really going on. The pressure to multitask is real. It's this pervasive idea that to get ahead, you have to be firing on all cylinders, all the time. You know the drill. Answering emails during a meeting, writing a report while half listening to a podcast. It's constant. And it's something we really admire in other people. A Reddit user, Luke Pianero, said it perfectly. He truly envies those who can swiftly shift their thinking. It just feels like they've got this mental edge that the rest of us are scrambling to catch up to. But there's always another side to the story, isn't there? Another user had a much more skeptical view. They said multitasking is just doing a bunch of different tasks very poorly all at once. And that really captures the heart of the debate. So, who's right? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at what's actually happening up here, inside our heads. Because it turns out our brains have been keeping a pretty huge secret from us about what we're really up to when we think we're multitasking. And here it is, the big reveal. What we've been calling multitasking isn't what we think it is. We're not actually performing multiple tasks at the exact same time. What's really happening is something called task switching. Our brain is just rapidly, frantically toggling its focus from one thing to another and back again. And all of that switching has this hidden cost, a really fascinating concept called attention residue. Think about it like this. Every time you jump from task A to task B, a little piece of your attention gets left behind, still stuck on task A. So even when you think you're 100% focused on the new thing, part of your brain is still chewing on the old one. And this attention residue, it comes with a pretty hefty price tag. We're not just talking about feeling a little distracted. The cognitive costs are real, they're measurable, and honestly, they're kind of shocking. Let's just start with a number that ought to get your attention. -15. A study from the University of London found that trying to multitask heavily can temporarily drop your effective IQ by up to 15 points. That's a massive hit. It puts you in the same cognitive range as someone who's pulled an all-nighter. And it's not just about how smart you feel, it's about your time. All of that switching back and forth, dealing with the brain fog, it can chew up as much as 40% of your productive time. Think about that for a second. In a 5-day work week, that's like throwing 2 full days right in the trash. A big study out of Stanford really dug into this. They compared the folks who are always juggling media, the red line here, with people who do it a lot less, the blue line. And look at the results. It didn't matter what the task was, the heavy multitaskers consistently did worse. Their working memory just couldn't keep up. So what's actually happening? Well, the Stanford researchers found a few key things. First, the heavy multitaskers just hold less accurate information in their heads at any given moment. Second, and this is the real kicker, they're worse at filtering out stuff that doesn't matter. Their brains are full of noise. And finally, all this mental clutter doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it actually makes it harder to form solid long-term memories. The great irony is that the more you try to multitask, the worse you actually get at focusing. This slide shows us the fundamental reason why our brains are like this. It's a trade-off. Think about it like this. The brain on the left is like a city with tons of interconnected roads. It's fantastic for learning new things, for getting from any point A to a new point B. The brain on the right is more like a city with separate, dedicated superhighways. It's super efficient for doing a few specific things at once, but it's terrible for learning new routes. For most of us, our brains are built like that first city. We are optimized to be incredible learners, not parallel processors. Okay, so if multitasking is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's simple, it's elegant, and it's perfectly in tune with how our brains were designed to work in the first place. It's called monotasking. Monotasking, or single tasking, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's about giving your full, undivided attention to one single thing until you're done, or at least until you hit a good stopping point. It's about working with your brain's natural ability to process things one after another, not fighting against it. And when you actually do this, the results are pretty amazing. It's not just about getting more done. The benefits go so much deeper. You actually train your brain to have a longer attention span, you get better at managing your time, you become a better listener, you can solve problems on a deeper level, And get this, you end your day feeling way less stressed and mentally drained. Now, this all sounds great, I know, but how do we actually break that deep-seated habit of constantly switching? Let's walk through a really practical 4-step playbook to get our focus back. We can actually borrow a pretty cool method from the world of manufacturing. So step 1, just watch yourself. Document how you currently work and switch between things. Step 2, prepare everything you need for a task before you dive in. Open the tabs, find the files, get your tools ready. Step 3, simplify the task. Break it down into smaller, easier steps. And finally, step 4, error-proof your process so you don't have to keep going back and fixing things, because that's just another form of task switching. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but wait, I know this one person who is an amazing multitasker. And you know what? You might be right. Research has found this tiny, tiny fraction of the population, about 2.5%, who are genuine supertaskers. These are people who can actually juggle tasks without their performance taking a hit. But for the other 97.5% of us, yeah, monotasking is the way to go. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. For decades, we have been completely obsessed with time management, right? Trying to cram more and more into every single minute of the day. But maybe we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. What if the real secret to productivity isn't about managing our time at all, but about fiercely protecting our focus?